real reason police evidence rooms aren't secure isn't what you think. It's not about corrupt officers, inadequate locks, or system failures. It's about evidence that moves on its own, disappearing from maximum security storage and reappearing in impossible locations that prove physical evidence might not be as physical as we assume. What I discovered about disappearing evidence will shatter your confidence in evidence-based prosecutions, because if crucial evidence can teleport from secured storage to crime scene locations, then every criminal case relying on physical evidence becomes questionable. I'm Daniel Mackenzie, and the disappearing evidence cases taught me that the biggest security threat to evidence storage isn't human criminals, it's evidence that doesn't follow physical laws. Detective Maria Santos ran the most secure evidence storage facility in the state. Digital locks, 24-hour surveillance, motion sensors, climate control, and access logs that tracked every entry and exit. In 15 years, they had never lost a single piece of evidence to theft, contamination, or mishandling, until the blood-soaked dress vanished from evidence locker 47 and reappeared buried 6 feet underground at the victim's gravesite. The security footage showed no unauthorized entry. The digital locks had no access records. The motion sensors never triggered. Yet crucial evidence had moved from maximum security storage to an impossible location with no human intervention. By the way, everything I'm sharing comes from actual security analysis and investigative reports included in my book, The Impossible Files. Multiple security experts studied these disappearing evidence cases and reached the same disturbing conclusion. Evidence can move through means that current security systems cannot detect or prevent. Here's what security experts discovered about evidence disappearance. Traditional security systems protect against human threats, but cannot protect against evidence that moves through unknown mechanisms that bypass physical barriers, electronic monitoring, and conventional detection methods. The disappeared dress wasn't the only case. A murder weapon vanished from evidence storage and was found in the suspect's apartment, despite the suspect being in jail with no access to his residence. Blood samples disappeared and reappeared at crime scenes that had been processed months earlier. Dr. Jennifer Walsh, a security consultant brought in to analyze the disappearances, concluded that evidence appears capable of movement through mechanisms that violate our assumptions about physical object behavior and storage security limitations. The pattern showed evidence returning to locations connected to the original crimes, murder weapons appearing at crime scenes, victim belongings returning to victims' homes, DNA samples reappearing at locations where they were originally collected. This is just one of 16 cases exposing security system limitations in my book, The Impossible Files. Link below. But the disappearing evidence cases revealed a fundamental flaw in how we think about evidence storage and physical object behavior. Security systems are designed to prevent human access to stored materials, but they cannot prevent materials from moving through non-human mechanisms that current security technology cannot monitor or control. The implications are staggering for criminal justice. If evidence can disappear from secured storage and reappear in impossible locations, then chain of custody becomes meaningless and evidence-based prosecution becomes unreliable. Dr. Michael Torres, who analyzed multiple disappearing evidence cases, reported that evidence movement patterns suggest that physical objects connected to criminal cases might exist in states that allow for location changes that bypass conventional physical barriers. The FBI investigated the evidence storage facility extensively and found no tampering, no security breaches, no system failures, and no human explanation for how evidence could disappear from maximum security storage and reappear in impossible locations. Their conclusion was unprecedented. Evidence disappearance occurred through mechanisms that current security systems cannot detect, monitor, or prevent, suggesting that physical evidence might be subject to movement principles that exceed current understanding. Police departments nationwide began reviewing their evidence storage protocols after discovering that maximum security might be inadequate protection against evidence that moves through unknown means. Some departments implemented additional monitoring systems, more frequent evidence verification procedures, and backup storage in multiple locations to detect and document evidence movement that bypasses conventional security measures. But the core problem remained unsolved. If evidence can move from secured storage through mechanisms that security systems cannot prevent, then evidence storage security is fundamentally compromised, regardless of security technology improvements. Courts began developing legal standards for handling evidence that had disappeared and reappeared because traditional chain of custody requirements assume evidence remains in controlled storage until needed for trial proceedings. Defense attorneys started questioning evidence storage integrity in all cases because disappearing evidence demonstrated that even maximum security storage might not be adequate for maintaining evidence integrity throughout criminal proceedings. Right now, you can learn about all the evidence disappearance cases and how they affect criminal justice for just $2.99. I'm including security analysis reports, FBI investigations, and legal precedents for handling evidence that moves impossibly. But I'm raising the price to $9.99 next week because law enforcement agencies are requesting this content for evidence storage security training programs. Get it now while it's affordable. The disappearing evidence cases established new protocols for evidence verification, backup storage systems, and documentation procedures designed to detect evidence movement that bypasses conventional security systems. Police evidence rooms now include multiple monitoring systems specifically designed to detect evidence displacement, even when that displacement occurs through mechanisms that traditional security systems cannot prevent. Get the impossible files now for $2.99, link in description, because understanding that police evidence rooms aren't secure against evidence that moves on its own isn't just academic criminology. It could affect the outcome of any criminal case where evidence integrity becomes a crucial factor. The real reason police evidence rooms aren't secure is that security systems protect against human threats, but cannot protect against evidence that moves through means that challenge our understanding of physical objects, spatial boundaries, and the nature of evidence itself.